Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Oreninc podcast series. I'm here at the Vancouver, what's it called this year? I think it's the Mining Investment Conference put on by Cambridge House. I just usually go just the Cambridge House conference, and this one is the June or the summer edition. I'm joined by Joe Mazumdar of Exploration Insights. Joe, thanks for making the time.
No worries, thank you, Kai.
I appreciate it, and it's always good to have you on. And we talked a little bit before starting recording about your numerous site visits lately. I think you're giving me a run for the money. I've done 7 site visits so far this year, but it feels like you've done double that.
I've done a few. Yeah.
No, you've been to South America. You've been to conferences in South America. Help us understand, what do you look for in a site visit? Like, when do you go down there? Obviously, you're a geologist, so yes, you look at the rocks, but other factors that you consider besides the rocks, and help us understand what you look for. Why are you going down there?
Well, I mean, when you see somebody's presentation or read some technical report, you get an idea of, how long it takes to get to some place. Logistically, what are the issues, what you're driving through, what the environment is, and you can't get that from reading anything. And so that's like a minimum that you get from a site visit, and you start looking at, this is what it takes there. Oh, those people live pretty close, or hey, there is power here, like he said, or that road's not bad, or that's a terrible road, or something like that, or wow, that's a river and it's got fish in it, or wow, this is under a lake with fish in it. So you get a better idea of what can happen and what is possible just on the site visit without actually talking to anybody. And then you change that to, okay, here's what you think your concept when you come there in terms of what you think you're going to see.
Yeah.
And does what you see actually match that, or actually come close to it?
Yeah.
Or what's different when you see it?
And one thing I've noticed, I've been recently in Peru as well, and one thing I noticed, you mentioned PowerPoint and then reality. Yeah. There's a big difference, right? One thing I noticed, one project is the size. Yeah. The size is yes, you have a little scale in the PowerPoint and the map, but once you stand on top of that hill or mountain or wherever, and you look down and say, the strike actually extends that way, you start to understand how big something could be. Yeah. Right?
And also discussing with the geologist and the CEO on site, you get a better idea of what they know and what they don't know. And that's a big thing for us because exploration's a lot of uncertainty, and so you're going, well, why are you doing what you're doing? What are you trying to test? Yeah. And what should we look for in your press release? So you're doing this drilling, so how's that add value to your thesis? Yeah. About what you think is going to happen. So I try to lay out with them, what are they looking for? What does success look like? How do you get there? And then in the end, are you funded to do it? Who's doing it? Yeah. And just try to connect the dots.
One thing I always look for, because I'm not a geo, right? It's I look how clean the core shack is, how well organized it is. That tells you a lot about the company.
You're because it gets used.
Yeah.
And they know where everything is, and that attention to detail is actually really important. Because that understanding of where the data is, how you display data, what you try to extract from it, and their own discipline, which comes down to how clean something is. Yeah.
I think it mirrors, the quality of the core shack, what it looks like really mirrors the company itself, I think, how well they run it. And one other thing, how well they organize the trip as well. If they just say, hey, Joe, just meet us down in Lima and we'll pick you up, Tuesday at, between 10 and 12. Right? Yeah. Or it's okay, we'll be there at 10 o'clock sharp.
And they give you an itinerary.
They send you the name of the driver, and they meticulously plan it. I think that makes a big difference as well. I've noticed.
And it, a lot of my visits are just me. Yeah. So they tend to take a little bit less. They don't have the 5 pages of itinerary or anything like that. It's just we'll pick you up here, we'll do this. And I'm usually a little bit, if it's a geologist that's running it, I'm a bit worried, because the other big thing I take away is how quick I will eat lunch. So how big of a breakfast do I have? Yeah. Are we going to eat? So you can have really long days. Like this last trip, I went on a flight from Lima. We left the hotel at 4 a.m, got to where we were going to fly to at about 9, and we had a 2.5 hour drive to the site. We were supposed to leave at 3 to get back before night. We left at 6 or 7, and then we got back to eat at about 9 or 10.
Fantastic.
So for my day was waking up at 4 and then I went to bed around 11.
I think it's called intermittent fasting.
Yeah.
I think it's a trend here in Vancouver. So,
but it was a great site visit, in terms of that. But the other thing you got to realize when you're on a site visit is you have to get out and you got to realize where you are.
Yeah.
So I usually have a bag of like my toque, my gloves, a scarf, and then I have cold weather gear and I stick that all in. I take my hiking boots everywhere, because I'm ready for anything. But I have seen some people at site visits that are in their tennis shoes.
That always puzzles me, actually.
Yeah, and then you go there, well, Jesus, what did you expect? I was on a site visit, one of the biggest site visits I've been on was a lithium site visit with about 60 people on it. And this was like major institutional investors, like your BlackRocks and people like that, analysts from JP Morgan and stuff like that. And for some reason, they failed to understand where they were heading. So they were going from some place that was about 1,000 meters above sea level to some place that was over 35. And that was like a 5-hour bus trip. We stayed up a little bit higher, but we were at this salar looking at something, and then there were 60 people there. And then I'm looking up, and then I see one person fall. And I'm going, wow, I thought something dropped from the sky, but they just passed out. They passed out because, one, they had altitude.
In their Mongolid jacket, and they scratched a Rolex.
And basically, it was like a football game. Soccer is that an ambulance came out with a little stretcher and took them out, and nobody said anything, and the CEO just kept talking.
One down, collateral.
Collateral damage.
No, that's funny. It's like, how does a site visit, though, fit into your investment thesis or your plan? Like, you do a lot of financing, you participate in quite a few. How does that fit into it?
So if we buy a very liquid company, we know that site visits may not be possible, because big companies work very differently, and I know that from my time working for them. But if it's a little company, if we are really keen on it, we might do a small investment initially, telling our subscribers, like, okay, but we still have this issue and this issue and this issue to worry about. We're going to do a site visit, nail some of these factors down, and then if we still like it, we know they're going to have to finance, and then we'll come in there or just wait.
No.
So we'll just lay out what we think at that point, but we want to take a little bit of piece so we can talk about it. And we go on the site visit, and then we could nail the things we're worried about. Oh, you're near a reserve. Okay, what's permitting like? What are the road building issues? How can you drill? How many pads can you that sort of thing? So we can understand, okay, hey, they've raised a lot of money, but you know what? They can only do this many meters of drilling because they can only have one drill rig because access is an issue or something like that.
Yeah.
So we wouldn't understand that well if we just got told that.
Yeah.
We'd actually have to go out. And another thing is that, people would say, oh, why are they always drilling from the same drill pad? And you go, oh, that's must be something wrong with them or something like that. And then you actually go there and topographically you see they can't build another tote.
Yeah.
And then they have to drill there. And that's all they had. Or, permitting has been delayed. Yeah. And so they have to, so the logistics of a lot of what they do that looks kind of strange, you can either convince yourself that's okay or convince yourself that there's something wrong here.
Yeah.
And a site visit helps a lot.
We could be talking forever, and I think one last question to sort of sum it up. How does the retail investor kind of replicate what you do on the ground?
It would be...
Besides reading, obviously, your letter, but like, what's his... how could he replicate that?
I guess the basic things is like when you look at a presentation is trying to figure out the big risks to any project, and then always delve into that risk whenever a press release. How are they de-risking this thing? Like if it's a metallurgical issue, it's like, when are they doing met, or are they avoiding talking about this? Because I remember a while ago there were these people drilling Carlin type deposits, and I remember a fund manager asked me about it. Oh, that's a great intersection. Yeah, but is it is it sulfide?
It's refractory.
Yes, it is sulfide. Well, then it's refractory. And then he asked me, well, why do you say
what does that
mean? They've not done any metallurgy. Well, I was thinking that if you define it as Carlin, and it is sulfide, it's refractory. That's the definition, basically. So you can't get away with saying it's Carlin, saying it's sulfide, and saying it's not refractory.
Yeah.
It is. So those sort of things you want to understand. You want to understand, okay, where are you drilling? What's the end game here? And what we like to do on exploration stories are, who might the potential suitor be?
Yeah.
So
for refractory ore in the Carlin Trend, there are not too many.
Yeah, there's
right?
like 2. So who are you going to go to, and are they interested? Are you close to their operations? Blah 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 blah. And some of the problems that you have with some of the drilling programs is you go, oh wow, this is really interesting, the grade, but geez, it's a kilometer down, and it costs you a lot of money to drill each hole, and you're only going to get maybe 50 meters of valuable core. After that, you need like 900 meters just to get there, and it takes you 3 weeks to a month.
And it costs you $2 million to drill it.
And you go, well, is that really worth it?
Yeah.
And that's why you've seen people drilling now more trying to get open pit heap leachable stuff that's cheaper to drill, obviously closer to surface, get a resource out, more news flow. So you really got to understand the story and understand the strategy behind what the company is trying to do. If they have no strategy, don't walk away.
Walk away. Where can investors find more about what you do? Where do they find you?
Well, at Exploration Insights, so explorationinsights.com. There's a lot of free stuff on there. And the last free article was a talk I did at CESCO, the World Copper Conference for CRU in Santiago in Chile a few months ago. So that's up there on the site right now.
Awesome. Joe, thanks so much. We could be talking forever, so I do appreciate the time.
Okay, thank you, Kai.
Enjoy the rest of the conference.
Cheers.